The town of Coldridge, Virginia, had always seemed ordinary. Brick houses lined the main street, white picket fences, and the kind of quiet that made the air feel heavier at night. But the locals all knew one unspoken rule: never walk past the old Miller house after sunset. Everyone avoided it, and everyone knew, yet no one ever spoke of it aloud. Ethan and Claire had just moved there, seeking a quieter life. They had left the city chaos behind, imagining peaceful nights and fresh air. Mia, their 7-year-old daughter, laughed and ran through the yard, oblivious to the unease that seemed to hover over the town. The first night, Ethan unpacked boxers while Claire prepared dinner. Across the street, the Miller house stood dark and empty, its windows like black eyes, watching silently. A sudden gust slammed the screen door shut, echoing through the quiet street. Mia froze mid-laugh. "Who's outside?" she asked. Ethan smiled nervously. "Just the wind, sweetie." But even as he spoke, he felt the weight of the house's gaze pressing down. At exactly 11:17 p.m., a faint whisper drifted from the Miller house. Ethan froze, straining to hear. Claire shrugged it off, assuming it was the wind rustling through old boards. But the whispers returned nightly, forming words that Mia began repeating in her sleep. "Come, join us." Small things began to disappear in their house. Keys, books, Mia's toys gone. One moment, appearing in impossible places. The bathtub, the attic, inside locked cupboards. Each time, the air felt colder. The shadows in the corners of rooms seemed longer, moving just slightly when no one was looking. One night, Ethan woke to a soft humming that carried through the hallways. Mia was missing. Claire screamed. Ethan ran to her room. The window was wide open, curtains flapping like restless ghosts. The humming grew louder, guiding him across the street to the Miller house. The front door creaked open by itself, inviting him in. Inside, shadows twisted and moved against the walls. Faces appeared briefly in mirrors, smiling with mouths too wide. "Elisto, dark." Ethan called Mia's name. Silence. Then came a small giggle from the basement stairs. The stairs creaked under unseen weight, each step sounding like hundreds of footsteps pressing downward. Ethan's heart pounded. He could hear Mia's breathing in his mind, soft, terrified, calling out numbers. 11, 17, 11, 17. Descending the basement stairs, Ethan felt the air grow colder, thick with damp earth and a metallic tang. The walls were covered in faded drawings, children, houses, stitched faces, all overlapping. As if trapped in the chalky walls for decades, Mia sat in the corner, rocking back and forth, whispering the numbers. Her eyes were vacant, distant. Suddenly, the basement door slammed shut behind him. The humming became a chorus, dozens of voices singing together in a disturbing harmony, Mia's voice among them. Shadows stretched across the walls, crawling toward Ethan, twisting and reaching as if alive. A hand, pale, thin, and impossibly long, touched his shoulder. Espun, around nothing. The walls seemed to breathe. The chalk faces shifted slightly, as though watching. Ethan grabbed Mia, but the shadows pressed against him. Whispers filled the air. "You came. You answered. You stay." He ran blindly, through rooms that stretched impossibly, hallways longer than they should be, stairs that looped back into the same dark rooms. When morning finally came, the Miller house was empty again. Ethan carried Mia home, exhausted and trembling. The neighborhood looked normal once more, but the sense of watching lingered. Every shadow in the corner felt heavier, every whisper too soft to catch but impossible to ignore. Weeks passed. Mia spoke less, staring at walls as though hearing secrets. At night, faint numbers could be heard through the walls, repeated in hushed tones. 11, 17, 11, 17. Every day, Ethan noticed things moving slightly on their own. Chairs slightly turned, doors ajar that had been closed, whispers in the corners of rooms. The house wasn't just alme. It was alive, remembering, waiting. The Miller house remained untouched by the authorities. No one ever went inside. Local children crossed the street to avoid it. And every night, as the clock neared 11:17 p.m., the whispers returned. Shadows elongated. The air thickened. Something knocked not on the door, not on the wall, but inside the mind, inside the chest, and sometimes inside the very soul of the listener. The Walker family never ignored the rule again. Ethan and Claire learned to sleep lightly. Doors locked, lights dim, voices hushed. Mia continued to whisper numbers in her sleep. Some nights she woke screaming, pointing at walls with no one there. The town didn't notice. They couldn't. They already knew. The Miller house always remembered, always waited, always chose. And when someone new moved in, laughing at the warnings, the house would stir again. Footsteps echoed in empty rooms. Whispers floated through the halls. And if you were unlucky enough to answer, to look, to reach out, you would hear the numbers in your sleep. And one night, when the house was ready, it would knock just for you.